Good evening, YouTube. Happy New Year's. So it is getting a bit closer to the strike of midnight here in Vegas. So I did just want to actually make a true, honest New Year's video. So in this video, I'm going to be kind of discussing a little bit about New Year's resolutions, New Year plans, and that whole spectrum of things, right? So when it comes to New Year's resolutions, right, there's one thing that I feel like we need to kind of look at. The word resolution itself. If you look it up on Google, there's two definitions. The first being a firm decision to do or not do something. And part two, or the second definition, is the quality of being determined or resolute. I think that if you really want to have your next year, this upcoming year, 2022, be your best year, what's more important is not the first, it's the second. The quality of being determined or resolute. A firm decision to do something or to not do something, it's very strict, it's very rigid. It doesn't give you, there's not much room for it. Most of the time when people make these claims about what they will do or won't do, too often there's little nuance to it. It's all about perfection with whatever it is that they decide. And that's not really the way you want to approach things. In my opinion, a New Year's resolution should not be a checklist of things you want to get done in the next 365 days time. It is instead the way that you decide you will live for the next 365 days and onward. It's not so much about in 2022, I'm gonna reach all these things, I'm gonna accomplish all these things. It's more so how in 2022 can I be more like what I want to live for the rest of my life? How can I make 2022 closer to the years that I want my life to look like? How can I make it more related to what I want to do in my life? Like being more fit, being more caring, being more kind, being more studious, whatever it is that it is for you. How can you make the next year look more like the years ahead that you want them to look like, in the way that you want it to look like? That is the question that you should be asking yourself going into the new year. For that, the most important thing here is a plan. The most important thing here is not the decision, it's the quality in which you will be resolute. It's not the resolution, it's the quality in which you will be resolute. How will you be steadfast in the face of failure? How will you be steadfast in the way of difficulty? Because those are going to be things that we will never foresee, but are always going to be there. And sometimes they reveal themselves in really small ways. The most common is that you're at work, someone brings in donuts. Can you resist that? It's a very small roadblock, but hey, it gets a lot of people. We don't know what the next year is going to bring. I mean, think about all the hopes that we had for 2020 and look where that got us, right? We never know what the next year is going to bring. We never know what difficulties it's going to bring. We just don't know. But that doesn't mean we can't plan for the unexpected things. How can we be more determined? How can we be more resolute in the face of difficulty? How can we do all these things, right? Then the way that you do that is to not be perfect. Is to just be a little bit better. If you want to be steadfast, if you want to be firm, if you want to have grit, if you want to live your life with guts, and I don't mean berserk, I mean with actual guts, determination, heart. If you want to live your life with that, you need purpose. And the way I want you to think about this is, or the next year is, how do I assign purpose to each day? Do I live each day with meaning? That is the goal. Life in every breath. That is the goal. What way of living do you want to attach to each day? Now, the way that you live, right? The way you should live is not based on perfection. It's just something that you try to adhere to as to the best of your ability. Living in the way, living in a certain manner is more important than making sure that you're hitting your certain checklists with 100% accuracy. How do you move from moment to moment? How do you improve upon moment to moment? That is more important than making sure that each moment is perfect. Adherence to the path doesn't mean just being perfect 100% of the time. It means going back to it. It means that when things get difficult, it means when you trip up, it means when you fail, when you fall off the path, you just get right back on it. That's more important than anything else. But here's the thing. If you want to have purpose, if you want to actually see tangible results, you need to have a path laid out for you. And that means you need to have a plan. You need to have something worth doing, something worth living for. Now, for myself, That could be the fact that I want 2022 to be the last time I take a pretty drastic cut. I'm not to like cutting off that much weight, but I want it to be the last time where like, okay, I'm going to stay between 220 and 240 for the rest of my life. For the most part, depending on whatever circumstances. But as my life is right now, I want to get down to 220 to 240, somewhere within that range, and just maintain that for the rest of my life and just live healthily. So maybe 230 to split the medium, right? And that is a decision, that's a resolution, but it's the quality of being resolute that matters most. How well do I adhere to having consistent meal times and frequency? So I'm not eating too much, I'm eating the same quality of food, so fruits and veggies with every meal, protein with every meal, not too much carbs, like keeping track of what I'm eating, having a dietary adherence of at least 80%. I'm not planning to be perfect. I'm just planning to be better. I'm including what it is that I know trips me up. Because if I don't, then when it does trip me up, it just trips me up even harder because I just think, okay, I failed, so well, I might as well double down on my failure and then just get back on it next time. No, that's a horrible way of doing things. It's not 0 to 100. It's not black and white thinking. You want to avoid black and white thinking into 2022. So for the rest of my life, going back to what I mentioned earlier, how do I make 2022 a year closer to the years I want to live further down the line? So big picture. For the rest of my life, I want to devote myself to being a better, stronger, more muscular, fitter lifter. That's one thing, you know. They're kind of, you might say that's so vague and too many things to include all at once. Well, I have my own definition of that, and that's what matters to me. I know what that looks like. I know what I'm aiming for. The next thing, I do want to be a better boxer and a better fighter. I recently got back in touch with boxing, martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, things that I've been talking about wanting to do for the longest amount of time, but I just kept telling myself I don't have it in my schedule. I don't have the room for it in my schedule. I don't have the energy for it. I don't have the time for it. I made time for it. And sure, that means I have to cut things out. That means I'm a bit more tired every now and then, but my life is better as a result. And I just want to continue that for as long as humanly possible. There are some new things I want to add in, being a better boss, a better employee. I am trying to make this YouTube channel a driving force or a driving source of income for me as one of my main ones. So that's something I'm going to be trying to work on, improving the quality of my work, improving the quality of my coaching, improving the quality of everything that I am making for myself. But at the same time, I'm still working. I'm still an employee, and I'm trying to be better at that as well. So those are the things I want to get better at. Those are the things that I have on my checklist. But here's the thing. It's how well I stick to trying to be better at those things. If you want to reach your goal this year, what matters most is determination, perseverance, and persistence. And I will say it once again, not perfection. If you aim for perfection, you're going to be disappointed every single time, and you're going to think of yourself as incompetent, incapable, and that's not how you build a better you. You build a better you by just trying to be 1% better, just being a little bit better. Like I mentioned earlier, don't think to yourself it's either 0 or 100. Don't think to yourself that it's just black or white, you did a good job or you didn't. The best possible decision in the best possible circumstance is not always going to be what's available to you. Sometimes you just need to focus on that little bit better. Sure, you went off your calories. Your next decision is this. Do I get back on my diet the very next meal? Or do I say to myself, well, it's Friday, I ate too many calories. Let me just enjoy the weekend and I'll get back to it on Monday. Which of those two options is the better option? Maybe on another day, okay, something came up and I can't work out, or I can't do my full workout, but I can do 30 minutes. It's only 30 minutes. I'm just going to skip. No, you show up, you do the best 30 minutes you can, you still get ready, you still show up. Those are examples of just making the better decision. Obviously, the best choice, the best outcome, the best result in the best possible circumstance is what we desire. It's what we think is going to happen if we just apply ourselves, but that's not how life works. That's not how time works. That's not how anything works. It's just a matter of consistently doing a little bit better, a little bit more purposefully, a little bit more close to what it is you have planned, right? That's what matters most. So if you want to make 2022 better, It's about being better than the last moment. It's about being better than the day before. And eventually that all compounds and accumulates into having a better year. And you try that for the rest of your life, eventually you have a better life. So you're going to fall off. You're not going to be perfect. You shouldn't be aiming for that anyway, but I know it's something that we all have an inclination towards. When we try to think better, we think perfect. Try not to do that so much. You don't want to reinforce any bad habits. You don't want to punish yourself. You don't want to be saying to yourself that because I already overate, because I broke my streak, because I was trying to, like, let's say I was trying to run every day or work out every day or do something unrealistic like that, and you break through that streak. That's not how you're going to make things better. You want to just make sure that you're doing a little bit more, just a little bit more. A little bit more than the last moment, a little bit more than the day before, just focusing on that, making sure that it is in some way in the same direction of where you want to go. That is what matters most. So no more regrets, no more guilt, no more shame. You don't do any of those things, like none of those things. You can't hate yourself into a better you. And I can't stress that enough. You have to be able to go from moment to moment with the same exact plan, purpose, and intention. That's how you make gradual improvements. Determination, resoluteness, these are qualities that show themselves when we are at our weakest, when we falter, and when we trip. That is why your New Year's resolution, whatever it may be, should not be to be impervious to failure, but to be improved despite of failures, and God forbid, because of them. Because if you can turn a failure into something that gives you information about how to succeed further down the line, it's no longer a failure. It's now something that actually propels you further forward, and that's what matters. So, like I mentioned earlier, more important than 1 year of your life lived perfectly is an entire lifetime lived with purpose. That is what you should be aiming for. If you had the day that you wanted, what would it look like? If you had the life that you wanted, what would it look like? And then from those two pieces of information, ask yourself, what is the most realistic next step that I could take, that I would take, and do something about it, right? Ask yourself those three questions. And then from there, make a plan, stick to it, aim low, but aim higher than where you are right now. Start small and start where you stand. That is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video and you want to reach and have us reach our goals together, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and you will see the progress of myself as well as this channel. And I would love to see your progress in the coming year. So thank you so much again. Happy New Year.